The car was not a symbol of freedom. It was where Steve Harvey slept after leaving a secure job at an auto plant and trying to make comedy pay. His home became a 1976 Ford Tempo. The gamble had failed, and the consequences were immediate. In the 1980s, a man pursuing a stage career had no steady income, no dependable place to live, and no safety net waiting beneath him. For 3 years, homelessness followed Harvey from one comedy opportunity to the next. The car carried his clothes, his limited belongings, and the private evidence of how far he had fallen. He washed in gas station bathrooms and ate whatever his comedian's wages could afford. Each basic need became a problem to solve before he could even think about applause. The shame was not abstract. It lived in the fear of being discovered, in the calculation of where to park, and in the knowledge that a person could look functional while having nowhere to go. Harvey had chosen the risk himself, but choice did not make the exposure easier. A dream could be noble in theory and brutally ordinary when the bill came due. The first survival mechanism was movement. He stayed connected to comedy by taking the work available, even when the money could not support a normal life. The road became both workplace and shelter. Every performance offered a chance to keep the plan alive, but no single performance repaired the damage. The next meal, the next wash, and the next place to sleep still had to be found. That distinction matters. Harvey did not overcome homelessness through one burst of inspiration. He endured it through repetition. He kept appearing in clubs while living inside the consequences of his decision. The craft had to improve under pressure because weak material produced fewer opportunities, and fewer opportunities made survival even harder. Comedy was not yet a career. It was a narrow bridge over a deep drop. Cleveland remained part of the story's foundation, a place tied to Harvey's early life and the identity he carried into the struggle. But the climb demanded distance from comfort, familiar routines, and the expectation that a stable job would still be there. The world did not pause while he tested himself. Rent, food, travel, and dignity continued to demand payment. The lowest point was not simply having a car instead of a home. It was the shrinking of his choices. A bad week could affect everything. A small expense could compete with transportation. A missed opportunity could mean more time on the road. Homelessness turned ordinary decisions into hard arithmetic, and the arithmetic never stopped. The dream had to survive without pretending the danger was romantic. Still, the car provided one fragile advantage. It allowed Harvey to remain in motion. He could reach the next club, carry his clothes, and protect a small space that belonged to him, even if that space was uncomfortable and temporary. It was not security. It was a thin layer between him and complete exposure. Sometimes resilience begins as nothing more glamorous than preserving that thin layer. The clubs supplied another kind of test. Empty rooms and small crowds did not reward confidence alone. Harvey had to learn which ideas connected, which ones died in the air, and how to return to the stage after an unproductive night. The work was repetitive, cold, and lonely. He honed his craft in places that could not guarantee a future, only a few minutes to prove he deserved another chance. That is the stark reality behind the phrase starving artist. Hunger does not sharpen every person into greatness. Sometimes it simply exhausts them. Sometimes it forces an exit. Harvey's persistence mattered because it operated inside that uncertainty. He could not know whether the next performance would change his life. He could only prepare, travel, perform, and search for a way to continue. The turning point began with a change in how he treated the struggle. Survival could not be the entire plan. The road had to become a training ground, not just an escape from failure. Each club gave him information. Each audience exposed a weakness. Each return to the stage created another opportunity to refine timing, presence, and material. Progress was small, but it was measurable. That kind of progress rarely feels dramatic while it is happening. It looks like remembering what failed the night before and refusing to repeat it. It looks like working without the comfort of a private room, a reliable paycheck, or an audience already convinced. Harvey's commitment was not proven by a speech. It was proven by continued preparation when success remained invisible. 3 years is long enough for a temporary crisis to become an identity in other people's eyes. It is long enough for embarrassment to settle into routine, yet routine can also become structure. Harvey kept the essential sequence intact: find the work, protect the chance to perform, improve the material, and stay available for the opportunity that had not arrived. The system was harsh, but it gave his effort direction. The story needs a subject before the descent can begin. Tell me whose world broke, and what comeback you want traced from the bottom to the climb. The external breakthrough came through showtime at the Apollo. The Apollo was not merely another room on a long list. It represented a larger test, a place where a performance could reach beyond the scattered clubs and unstable years behind him. Getting there did not erase the Ford Tempo, the gas station bathrooms, or the meals bought with meager wages. It gave those years a point of consequence. A major stage can expose a performer as quickly as it rewards one. The pressure is not removed by reaching the door, it is concentrated there. Harvey had to carry the discipline built in obscurity into a setting with greater attention and greater risk. The opportunity mattered because he had spent years preparing for moments that could not be scheduled or guaranteed. When success finally began to change his circumstances, it did not make the earlier years less real. A better future could not refund the lost comfort or remove the fear that had shaped his decisions. Resurgence started with access, not perfection. More visibility could lead to more work, but more work still required consistency. The climb continued after the first break because a break is an opening, not a finished life. Harvey's story is often compressed into a clean sentence. He was homeless, then he became successful. That version hides the mechanics. He left security. He lived in a 1976 Ford Tempo. He washed in public bathrooms. He ate on meager wages. He kept moving through the 1980s, using performance as both income and training, while the cost of failure remained painfully immediate. The human weight sits in the contradiction. He was not waiting passively for rescue, but effort did not guarantee rescue either. He was active, disciplined, and still vulnerable. That is why the story reaches beyond comedy. Many people know what it means to work hard while the numbers remain bad, to maintain a public face while private conditions deteriorate, and to keep one future possibility alive inside an unforgiving present. The Cleveland connection also matters because reinvention does not begin with becoming unrecognizable. Harvey carried his background, his humor, and his ambition into unfamiliar rooms. The road changed his circumstances before it changed his status. He learned to operate without the protections he once assumed would remain. The result was not a painless transformation, but a stronger command of the work he had chosen. By the time the Apollo opportunity opened a wider path, the achievement was larger than a single performance. It was proof that persistence had produced something concrete. The years had not magically become worthwhile, and hardship had not become a gift, but the labor had created skill, and skill had created access. That is the mechanism of the resurgence, preparation meeting an opening after a long period of uncertainty. Steve Harvey overcame 3 years of homelessness without a clean rescue story. He did not float above the crisis through optimism. He slept in a car, washed where he could, ate within severe limits, and continued pursuing comedy when the decision had already cost him stability. His success began with endurance, but endurance became powerful only when attached to daily work and improving craft. The lesson is not that anyone can repeat his path or that suffering is required for success. The lesson is harsher and more useful. A dream without a plan can destroy your margin for error. A crisis can narrow life to basic needs. And when no guarantee appears, recovery may depend on protecting one small capability at a time. For Harvey, that capability was the ability to keep performing and keep getting better. The 1976 Ford Tempo was never the destination. It was the shelter that carried him through the years when the destination seemed unreachable. Showtime at the Apollo did not rewrite the past. It revealed what the past had forced him to build. From Cleveland to the road, from public bathrooms to major stages, Steve Harvey's comeback was not instant success. It was a long refusal to let homelessness become the final sentence.